Well, everyone, we're getting pretty close. It's 9:05. I'm going to take control of this crazy concoction of people today who are here and get us started. So if you guys don't mind, let's get this day going. I'll share my screen. Hopefully you can all see what I'm sharing.
Yeah.
Is that the case? Yes. All right. Yeah. So I've got to move this out of the way and now I can present. Voila. Hi, everyone. This is 1 Million Cups. If you're here for another class, you need to go to a different homeroom. But today, this is the Seattle 1MC, and we're so happy to have you here. In the chat, all of the stuff that's on this page has been compressed into one link. So you don't have to write any of this down. Just go to our new awesome link that Katie has made for us, and you will be able to find us on social media, find our weekly thises and that's, and it's so great. You're gonna have a one-stop shopping spot for your 1MC fix every Wednesday. So, and thanks for being here. We're so happy to have you with us today to hear about what Miriam from Quoka is gonna tell us, which is gonna be fantastic stuff. So here we go. Oh, there it is. This is what we're talking about, this 1MC link. This is everything, all the good stuff. And Katie has been busy working behind the scenes this morning to put this into the presentation. You rock, Katie, great job. So what are we gonna do here today? Well, I like to think of 1MC as this awesome spot where people can meet and support each other. And we support each other by sharing ideas, offering help, even asking for help. And this is gonna create this awesome community of entrepreneurs and ideas and people just wanting to change the world with their idea, product, or business. So thank you for coming. And of course, it's 1 Million Cups because it's all about doing it with some coffee. We're different than other groups that do this same type of support for entrepreneurs in that we're really at early stage trying to help people get off the ground. And we differentiate ourselves by being about presentations, not pitches. We're trying to get people to connect with each other. And this is really a community effort. Everyone you see who helps out on this, we're all community volunteers. And one of our favorite things is we are radically and intentionally inclusive. If you have an idea, we want to hear about it, whether it's traditional or not. So this happens all across the country. The 1MC Nation is quite large. There's at least 168 communities, maybe more by now, with tons of attendees and volunteers doing their thing every single week. And every one of those organizations runs on the premise that we seek education, presentations, and connections for people who have ideas in the business world and want to be entrepreneurs. This happens so often that we're well over 8,000 people have given and shared their ideas at 1 Million Cups. Not all at this particular place, but this is the collective where we normally meet when we're allowed to in person in Seattle area. It's a beautiful spot, and we hope you get to see us there soon. And we are supported by the McLaughlin Method and Small Studio and Human Up. They help us keep some of our little software things that we use to organize our group. They support and provide that those software pieces for us. So we're very thankful for all that they do for us. Here's your community volunteers. Look at this. We've got 6 people. We're so happy to have 6 people because that means we can spread out the wealth. We're meeting and trying to make everything better so we can run a super chapter here of the 1 Million Cups community. So if you want to join us and make us even more, just make us more extra, please do. We would love to hear from you. So here's what's going to happen today. We've already had a little bit of coffee and conversation. Now we're going to move to a 6-minute presentation by an entrepreneur. Afterwards, we'll have 20 minutes of Q&A. And following that, there'll be some connection that we'll be able to make via some breakout rooms. So before we get going though, I want to have everyone sit back and relax and think about what it takes to be a good listener during Miriam's presentation. So limit your distractions, really think about what is standing out. What is it that you really like about what Miriam's going to talk about? What more do you want to learn from her? What was missing maybe? And could you share anything from your expertise that might help and benefit Miriam's progress as she moves through her business? And let's try to stay away from using shoulds and ask questions that start with what, so that we can let the people who are, let Miriam and others figure out what works best for them and not necessarily be told what works best for them. And after we get going, you're going to be able to raise your hand and I will call on you in the order that they come up by hitting the little reactions tab at the bottom of your page during the presentation or after the presentation is over. And that's how we will get to you and we'll go through. We're going to try to make sure that our questions are just really quick, one question at a time. And if you've got multiple questions, just after you raise your hand and you get your question in, raise it again and we'll come back to you if time allows. That being said, I think we're ready for, yes, we're ready for Miriam. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. And everyone, I'd like to give a warm welcome to Miriam from Quoka.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. My name's Miriam, and I'm the founder of Hibor. Quoka is our first digital product that we're bringing to market. It's an anonymous messaging exchange designed to improve the mental health of founders. Here's why. 1/3 of founders are clinically depressed, and entrepreneurs in the United States have a higher rate of suicide compared to other groups. I believe that entrepreneurs are some of the brightest minds that our world has, and we need them to be in the best mental shape possible in order to achieve our full potential. I'm talking about entrepreneurs like Robert. Robert is a visionary. He's working on making his dreams become a reality. He's motivated, creative, and well-connected. He's doing his best to do it all, but he's human, and that comes with real human needs and challenges. Founders like Robert are under an extreme amount of pressure. They're a leader in their community, and he's a leader in his organization. He lives a pretty public life and feels pressure to be active on multiple channels and appear to look like he always knows what he's doing. He never knows who's watching and is living during a time when it's taboo to talk about mental health. Leaders of today are under public scrutiny, which stifles growth, and lack of growth is detrimental to a founder. Although Robert is well connected and has a community that supports him, advisors and mentors that he can talk to, that requires a big commitment of time and mental energy. His success requires him to learn new things and be happy, healthy, and well. When he's not happy, healthy, and well, it's not good for his team and others around him, which causes further anxiety because he cares about other people. Founders like Robert are motivated by solving problems, accomplishing goals and tasks, and helping others. Quoka is a safe place for founders like Robert that desire to achieve a state of self-actualization. Through Quoka, Robert can help others get support from a networking community that understand him. Using Quoka, Robert can express himself, be understood, and listened to. Plus, it doesn't require a huge time or mental commitment. It's easy. Here are some of our core features. First, the community is comprised of like-minded people. All interactions are anonymous, so no matter what you say, you don't risk being exposed, feeling stupid, or judged. Since all communication is done through text, you don't risk getting sucked into an endless stream of distractions like other social platforms. And lastly, learning. Our website of resources is curated by the community and from a thoroughly vetted ambassador program. Here's how Quoka works. Once a member joins the club, they're able to send messages to Quoka. Quoka analyzes those messages and makes sure they get routed appropriately and sent out according to the members' preferences. Members can choose to engage as little or as much as they want. No reply is ever required. Founders were struggling before, and now after the COVID pandemic, the need for Quoka will only grow. I've gone through hacking together and testing 3 MVPs, and last month I launched my 4th iteration. Here's what some of our members are saying about using Quoka. They're grateful for us putting this together. Even if they don't manage to do it every day, they are thankful for the creativity that we took putting it together. Some have expressed that they needed this at the perfect time it came, and they're grateful when they receive it as a gift. While I identify as an artist, I'm also an entrepreneur, and it warms my heart seeing the impact that Quoka makes in people's lives. As a millennial who's always had technology in her life, I feel that the apps we use are not always created to support our humanity. Things have gotten out of control, and I'm committed to solving this problem and building from a people-first perspective. Up until this point, I've been a solo entrepreneur, and this past year I had the opportunity to work with a team that brought many challenges, but overall it was great. I completed my first boot camp, and I'm conducting extensive user research and leveraging my existing communities to push new user acquisition. I'm forming strategic partnerships all while building in public, which has been wild to say the least. We have a very low-cost monthly membership fee. Anyone can start using Quoka today. We offer a yearly and monthly subscription plan. Thank you all so much for your time today and welcome me into your chapter. I'm eager to hear your feedback and comments.
Woo! Woo-hoo! Very nice, very nice. Miriam, that was really good. It was concise, it was quick, it was all the good stuff we like. I mean, it was really a great presentation too. So you've done some work on that video stuff going and it worked. That's a rock.
Where do you work?
I got to meet with Katie before, and she really helped me with some of the talk track, although I still have some things I want to change in the presentation based on our conversation. You know, it's just like one thing at a time.
Yeah, yeah. So Katie's giving us a little heart there. She loves it. So we're opening up the world here to questions. If you've got a question, I notice that the first person with their hand up is Leif.
That's me. Hi, Miriam. Good morning. I'll agree. I loved your presentation. There was so much movement and action. That was really neat. And I thought I hadn't seen anything like that before. So my question is a little bit also for information for me, and that is, what ties you to this project so compellingly that you're able to stick with it through like the hard times? Like what connects you to this project to like get you out of bed early in the morning to work on it?
Thanks for that question. Yeah, I mean, Quoka has definitely come a long way. When I first started this, I was working on trying to make synchronous experiences happen more frequently through technology after just a random chain of events where I helped someone, a colleague that was not in a good place, and I just so happened to talk to him at that time, and it was really impactful. And then I started to think about all the different times when my life, random things have happened coincidentally, and they've actually been very meaningful. And I thought that it would be great to have a technology support to that experience. And also I've struggled with technology, not being present in conversations, having my phone with me all the time, posting on social media, just sucking my time away from me. And I don't like how products are designed in that way. Like even on the apps that I work on with other founders, and it's always about like, well, how do we keep users engaged? What are we going to do to keep them in the app longer? And it's like, even apps that we're designing to help people get out and experience life, we're still measuring things like time they spend in the app. And by design, we're designing technology to not support our humanity. And I don't like that. So as an artist, Quoka is a lot of ways, it's half that. My design will be a new way to think about how we can still use technology, because I love technology, I'm obsessed with it. But at the same time, I think that we should also be supported as humans. And then the purpose of it to support founders specifically evolved through the boot camp that I took. I mean, I was all over the place with wanting to help veterans with mental health, and doctors and coaches and energy workers and single moms. Like, heck, we all need it, right? But when I started to outline the customer journey and the pain points for each of those groups, it became very clear to me that the one that I should start with you hear all the time, like, focus as an entrepreneur, like people want you to just like focus in, and it's hard because you have this big vision picture, but the focus, it was kind of like an artistic experience again. So like when I'm doing a painting, for example, it becomes very clear to me, like, this is exactly what I'm painting, use this color. It was the same way with Quoka. When I started designing the users and their pain points, it was like, whoa, girl, you need to focus in on founders. You know them. You know what it's like to wake up every single day and be a founder. You know what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And that's what keeps me going every morning when things go wrong. It's like, I need this as much as other people need it. As many communities as I'm involved in, I struggle with these pain points. I still feel judged. I still feel like at risk when I have a question and I need knowledge that I'm potentially going to screw myself out of an opportunity down the line. And that's not okay. We need safe spaces. Entrepreneurs need safe spaces. We're trying to solve really complicated problems that the entire world will benefit from. And if we don't have places where we can grow and fast and learn and feel good, we're never going to get there. We're dropping off like flies. Our suicide rates are out of the roof, depression. So that's what it is. That's my North Star, really.
Very, very cool. I like calling it a North Star. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've got more questions, but I'll save them for the end of the line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tier, do you have a question? You're up.
Thank you, Eric. That was a beautiful presentation, Miriam. I really, really liked it, and the whole idea. My question is short. So what are you doing for marketing currently? Your marketing strategy?
Yeah, our marketing has really been doing user research, using different communities of founders to talk about it. I'm non-technical founder. I would be very not in a good place if I got 100 new users tomorrow. That would be a scalability problem for me at this point technologically. So it's been very kind of small groups, beta testing, changing the onboarding process almost on a weekly basis. But just speaking with founder communities like 1 Million Cups, this is my 4th presentation. And then within my other, Slack channels and things like that, talking about it, doing user research interviews, having those people then come on and start using Quoka. So that's really been our marketing, but I will explore Facebook ads when I design the next iteration of my landing page. And yeah, I would like to do some, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, things like that. But I'm happy. I'm also open to suggestions if you have ideas and things. I'm not a marketing guru at all.
Well, next week we have a great presentation coming on where we're going to learn a little bit about that. So you might want to come to our meeting next week just to hear from Ryan, who's he's in Phoenix, right? I think so. Anyways, he's up next week giving an education presentation for this community. So there, I got the plug in. Kareem, what do you need to find out from Miriam?
First, I need to figure out how to unmute myself. So thank you very much, Miriam. That was a fantastic presentation and a complex problem, right? That you're laying out and driving to solve. How are you building community around this idea? How are you building? How are you building community outside of sort of the marketing and some presentations? How are you in social? Are you on Medium? Are you how are you building community around founders that are looking for help?
Thanks so much for your question. I am building in public, so that involves posting regularly to our Substack channel where people can subscribe. I'm working on, instead of just, it would start off just kind of being like a venting area where I was like, oh my God, this week was crazy. But now I'm trying more to add value and say, this is what I learned from what I did in this past few weeks or things of that nature. I started my first Indie Hackers account. I'm also participating in the Pioneer app challenge, which if you're not familiar with, highly suggest for any founder, if you're building something, to check out pioneer.app. It's kind of a building in public feedback community, and they hold masterminds. I'm also in the Indie Worldwide 100 by 100 challenge. So it's a challenge to get 100 users in 100 days. We're about like day 58 or so. I'm at 2 paying users, actually paying users. But I'm not concerned with that. I'm not trying to win the challenge or anything like that. I'm just meeting founders through these communities, talking with them, supporting them. And that's what I'm doing. I also, I am on social. I'm on I have a lot of Instagrams, Twitter, Facebook. I'm on Clubhouse. We have set up the Quoka handles on Instagram and Twitter, but I haven't activated them just yet, just because it's like kind of a lot to do, and there's just a lot going on right now. So thank you so much.
Well, your early stage, it's always going to be challenging, right?
Yeah.
Tons of stuff.
But it's fun.
So much going on.
So.
Yeah. Murgesh, what do you have?
Yeah, hi Miriam. That's a great presentation. I think in the right area. I've been around founding companies myself for a long time. I can empathize with your statement about stress and founders. First thing that popped in my mind was on the question of focus. Have we really looked at founders? Because founders could be anybody, right? Somebody has an idea and is kind of doodling around something, maybe, to all the way to somebody has so much success they're stressed the heck out. They don't know how to deal with it. So stress is a lot of different things for founders. There are different types of founders. Just from messaging and positioning point of view, if your platform can kind of talk about, kind of identify what those stress points are and build solutions for those specific set of stress points as founders go through, right? Everybody knows that venture capital, they know it's outlier business. Most of the startups fail. End of the day, right? That everybody's stressed out through the journey. If you can kind of figure out how to address, for example, it could be folks that things are not going well, right? As expected, all of a sudden they're stressed out. Is there a community? Is there something really specific to about de-stress them about that specific thing? And maybe it's just empathy with other people who are going through similar stuff. Anyway, I can talk endlessly, but I just want to leave that thought there about this.
I would love to talk endlessly about that with you. That sounds really great. Because any of those specific stress points, that would be great if we could figure out, like, okay, can we address these? Can we send a founder on a specific messaging track or things of that nature to support them in more specific ways? I've thought about even narrowing my founder market down even further. So I'm still, learning and growing and building as I go. If you're open to having a conversation, I would love to.
Yeah, I'm actually building a venture capital fund right now. So I'm talking to lots of founders. So I'm happy to provide any help that I can as well.
Great, thank you. I'll message you in the chat.
That's a great connection there. And, what's that?
Sorry, Zaki. Miriam, I just put your email and your Substack link in the chat. So, that'd probably be a good way to connect.
Thank you.
Perfect. That's what I was going to say. Katie can toss that in there and then you guys can make a good connection. So Katie's reading my mind. Next up is Tessa.
Hello. Thank you, Miriam. That was really fun to hear. And I can hear the passion in your voice when you talk about the why. And that really excites me. And so I think hearing that passion at the beginning of your presentation as well, like that why, that drive would be really helpful. I actually have a really simple question, and there may not be a story behind this, but I'm just fascinated to know why it's called Quoka.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I love telling that story. There's totally a story there. So with HeBoard, the way that I launch my products or ideas is everyone just starts with like a project. I don't use any of my creative energy on trying to figure out names for things, because I feel like it's a very creative process and you use a lot of energy with that without even knowing if the idea is going to work or if there's any traction or anything like that. So it was just Project IB at first. And then once I had built some MVPs and thought like, wow, this could be something really cool. I want to go with it. I went through the process of, thinking about what could the name be. And it was all about technology and the internet and my issues with that and happiness. And at that time, it was really about happiness. So I went and I Googled, what's the happiest animal on the internet? Or I said, what's the happiest animal in the world? And if you Google that question, this little animal called a quokka comes up, and it's the cutest little creature. They're in Australia. Of course, I read it as Quoka. It actually has 2 Ks in the name, and our original name did have 2 Ks. We started doing kind of radio testing, which is where you make sure that your name, the way that you're pronouncing it, is the way that people are going to spell it. And so people were doing our radio test, and they were spelling it with 1 K. We dropped the K. And also during that time, we found that we were mispronouncing the name of the animal. It's a quokka. It's not a quokka. So then we did a reverse radio test where we were showing people the name with 1 K, and we're saying, how would you pronounce this? And pretty much everyone was saying quokka. So we were like, okay, we're good to go with the name as quokka. But it's a fun little story, and you should definitely check out the pictures with the quokka, because the quokkas are very cute, and they'll just make you happy just looking at them.
It may be before some of your time, but Quokka Sports used to be a very, very famous internet company. They took the Olympic online, $1 billion valuation failed. Quokka Sports.
Okay, I need to check them out. They need to be on my radar.
It's as famous as Google would have been, right, in the days of the internet, maybe before your time, but it's a very famous name, so you know.
That's kind of why I asked Miriam, because I'm Australian. So I was like, is this related to the quokka? So that's why
totally
I was like,
is. Yes.
Yeah,
okay. So yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're adorable.
That's awesome. Thank you for taking my question from me, Tessa. I was going to ask that. You're just on top of things. Awesome. That was great. That's a fantastic story. Our friends from 1 Million Cups in California, Yuba Sutter. You guys are up. Let us know who you are. What's up?
Hey, how you guys doing? So we are 1 Million Cups Yuba Sutter. We were started during the pandemic. So, but in our area, we are able to roam the cabin now and meet in person. So we have a hybrid model where you see a few of us that are willing to hang out in person, and then there are some that are actually logging in online as well. And we've been just kind of touring and checking out different 1MCs, and today it was yours. Miriam, great
Awesome.
presentation.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, great presentation, Miriam. I love the price point. There's an application that police officers, cities can purchase with for police officers. It's very similar, an anonymous place because of the suicide rate with police officers, being able to call in and just share anonymously. And the price point for that is much greater than what you are charging. So, but when the cities are purchasing, then when the cities are purchasing it, they have much more budgets. But as far as us, I mean, I see this as I was talking, I'm all, is she talking about me? I should probably sign up for this. And then my colleague next to me was saying the same thing. His name is actually Robbie. He goes, why did she have to use Robbie as an example? Yeah. So, yeah, it was like, hey, so yeah, so point number one, great price point, I think. And point number two, or question number two, actually, or question number one, point number two, is, are you looking at possibly going with audio conversation, or is it going to stay a chat? Me as an older guy, I like to talk, as you might already know, but chatting my emotional state would be more difficult for me because I'm not a millennial. And so my friends just have to sit and hear me talk about all my problems. And I'm entrepreneur with several businesses and all these types of things. And we own a co-working space, so we're constantly connecting with other entrepreneurs and founders as well. So anyway, that's the question.
I appreciate your question. Welcome to the 1MC family. Feel free to check out our the Miami chapter, which I'm representing as well. And sorry, Ravi, I swear I wasn't thinking about you when I put that together, but I'm happy to meet you and I would love to have you guys on. I would let people know that there's a free membership. If anyone needs the membership, we do offer for free if they feel like they really need this and can't afford to pay. Like, absolutely would never turn anyone away. You can send audio messages through Quoka now. You can send audio, you can send video, you can send images, you can send text message. So we're not limited in media of that type as of yet. So yeah, you can communicate through Quoka, any way that messaging you can. It's standard messaging. There's no app to download. You just message in, and any way that you would message normally, you can use as well with Quoka.
Thank you. And just to clarify, I said your app has a fantastic price point. I would pay triple. I would pay quadruple. That's what I was kind of expressing this. It's a great price point, and I think anybody. As a matter of fact, Robbie mentioned he works with a team, and he would pay for his entire executive team to sign up for that as well. So,
yeah, thank you so much for that. I want to keep the price affordable, something that I could afford. I've been bootstrapping for almost 5 years now. And so everything that I spend money on is there. I'm like, nope, I don't care. I will not buy it if it's not vital. So I really wanted to keep it affordable. And I would love to know the name of that one for the police officers that you mentioned as well, because they were in my initial huge target market before I narrowed in. Those types of jobs where you're doing that type of work is extremely important to me, and mental health should be prioritized there 100%. I'm also looking at potentially making some partnerships with founder organizations or larger founder communities, incubators, boot camps, accelerators, and allowing them to use Quoka. I've reached out to the founders of Blind, which I'm not sure if you guys know, but Blind, it's an app that if you work for a company, you can anonymously communicate with your coworkers on this kind of rogue platform that they created. And they've got some really cool patented technology. So trying to learn a little bit about those founders, their journey and their challenges and struggles. Yet to hear back, but I'm just going to keep being persistent and get in touch with them. So I think that there's a lot of ways that Quoka can go. And I would love to just see more spaces like this being created. We're building in public. We're sharing everything that we're learning along the way intentionally, so that others who want to focus on this and see value can also help solve this problem using the data that we're collecting.
That's great stuff. And Blind, my wife uses that quite a bit too. So that's a really great service. I love your price point as well. I think it's fantastic. And as you said, you're adding an expense can be challenging for someone. And I think if you're trying to help their mental health, trying to gouge them isn't going to help that. So I love that philosophy you have. That's fantastic. So anyways, Katie, you are next.
Cool. Hello. So great changes to your presentation, Miriam. I thought that there was some really powerful and compelling stuff that you shared with us in this. And I want to ask more about the actual technology and how it works. So could you kind of explain what the experience is like?
Yeah. So right now, the interface is very simple. You text a message in, and then you get prompted to save the number for Quoka in your phone. And once you do that, you're completely integrated into the system. You set up a handle during that process. So when you you click the link that you text in, it tells you to select a handle. And that's pretty much how we guarantee anonymity, whatever. So once you come in and you're messaging, I don't even see your phone number. No one on my team sees your phone number. It's completely anonymous. We have no access to it at all. And then every message at this point is being read by a human. Eventually, we will incorporate an AI. There's a really interesting app that started around the same time as us in Asia, which is an anonymous mental health app called Wusa. They just finished raising $500 million, just over $500 million, which I thought was like really great sign for their anonymous messaging app. That is, they focused heavily on like technology, and it's for everyone can use it in Asia. So eventually we would like to build out kind of an AI routing as well behind it. But right now we keep it just small. Every single message is read and then routed out. So as you get onboarded, you get to choose like what kind of messages you want to get, how frequently you want to receive them. You can change those preferences at any time. And then on the back end, when they're selecting those, we're dropping them into these subgroups, so that it's easy for us from a scale point to send out messages to these different groups of people as they come in. Moving to this more techie platform was something that was really important for this next iteration, because before, if you can believe it, I was using WhatsApp. I was using WhatsApp broadcast groups, hacked together, sending messages in, removing people from broadcast groups, putting them back in. It was a mess, but it worked for a little while. But yeah, I'm excited for the next iteration, to be honest. This is still very hacked together.
Well, but thanks for sharing that, because I think that depending on where people are at, some founders think that you have to go like full bore on the tech, but like you can hack things together to prove your point, right? And then you're like, oh, okay, people are actually using it. I can see that there's a market fit. Now I'll spend money.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Thanks, Katie. Great question. I was thinking the same stuff. I was wondering how it worked. So that really helped. And there's a great explanation here. Stephanie, you're up.
There we go. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm on the right microphone. So I see smiling faces, so I must be talking. So that was a wonderful presentation. My background and saying my background so I can kind of explain where I'm coming from too. So I have an art marketing agency that is content marketing. I did a lot of networking stuff with business owners, mastermind groups. There's been to a number of them that I've been to. And every single time the clients I work with who are also business owners and founders of different places, I was part of an incubator program with multiple tech startups. They go to those groups, they pay a lot of money for those groups, partially because it's like the only actual therapy session they could get. Because founders and people and entrepreneurs have their own problems where it's like, gosh, I'm so worried that I'm not being a good leader to my massive employees. What am I doing wrong? It's kinds of questions that I think a lot of people who have a 9-to-5 job who are in a salary position don't even think about, or concerns or anxieties of, did I make that right conversation today to really help out my team? So it's a very fascinating product. The text messaging aspect's very interesting. It reminds me very similar to influencer marketing, where they're growing directly to their audience because there's so many algorithms on YouTube and other places that are just like blocking that connection. So from my standpoint, a marketing background, I know we were talking in chat a little bit about search and social. Go to your communities first. If you're planning on doing Facebook, this is what I would advise if I were to do this, is I would go directly to the community, make myself aware in the community, especially with a touchy topic of this, because again, different demographics, different age groups, you might find more people younger who are more willing to talk about this, but people who are older who are not. And so they might want to do it in person. They might feel funny about it. They might even have issues of the technology itself. So having SMS directly without an app is already a good place, because they may not be able to actually respond and engage with it. Go directly, talk directly. That way you can keep up the anonymous aspect, because you're going to try to get people who are not going to really want to open up. And spending on ads through Facebook and Instagram and other places, though, probably a good thing to do. I would do it later. Build up your community first. They're the ones who are going to be talking. They're the ones who are going to be in those groups saying, gosh, you know what, this really helped me. This is where I went to actually go talk about stuff. Because you can get very much bogged into algorithm categories on Facebook and Instagram for advertising, whereas this is extremely, one, niche, and two, not you don't want to be competing with other apps that are going to be like Calm or any of the big guys who have tons of ad spend, because that's not really what you're about, and that's not really the type of like product you're providing. But I think if you go directly to mastermind groups, I mean, one group I was a part of, it was $1,200 a month to be part of this group, and to me that's insane. Like I couldn't believe I was in a group with 20 people. We were sitting in this really fancy ballroom dealership. It was like a 3-hour thing, and then I came every month to do this, and I'm just like, $1,200? You guys are here for $1,200? Why? And that's kind of the various price points from $400 to $1,200 groups a month that are literally their highlight that they keep saying is, I get to talk to people like me who understand my problems, because I literally have nowhere else to go to talk about it, because everyone thinks I'm crazy, because gosh, I'm a business owner. I must be so lucky that I don't have all these problems, when that's not the case at all. So wonderful product. I really am fascinated to see where this goes. But from what I would recommend from a marketing standpoint, as you're finding things out, go to where your audience is, make it as much of a personal connection, just because when we're in the tech space, I think a lot of people think in digital marketing, okay, I got to do a landing page, I got to do advertising, I got to add all this stuff. It's kind of the same thing with the disconnect. Marketing is one-on-one, especially with this relationship base. Go directly there, say that's here, build up that community, get them to find other people, because other entrepreneurs will seek out, as we are here, other entrepreneurs, which I think would be the best place to go. So wonderful presentation. That's my whole gambit of stuff. I heard everyone else, so I had all these different things. So hopefully that helps.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, no, I appreciate your enthusiasm behind encouraging me to just start with my communities first and don't worry about spending any money till down the line. That feels really good. And I agree, like these communities where people are spending a lot of money is because the people if you can get to that point where you realize, like, I need help, I need to talk to people that understand me, that's great. And then you're so desperate, you spend all of this money. But even once you get there, there are still founders and there are still things that you won't say in that space because there's risk associated. We're all human. It's not bad. We need to just acknowledge that we're made up of a life experience that brings us to this place where we look at things and we put them in boxes. And being anonymous is a great way to just be able to ask anything and not feel stupid. And it's fine. Like, we're here to help you learn. I don't even want to know, honestly, who's sending the questions, because then I'm emotionally invested. Like, like it goes both ways. Like, let's just help each other.
Very, very true. Very true. There's so much we could go on. I think this is a topic that this group and most of the groups you see in 1 Million Cups could go on for a long time. However, I think we need to get to the very last section of this day and ask you the awesome question that we ask everyone. I'm going to share my screen. This is going to stop you from sharing yours, but that's okay. And we're going to go right here. We're going to ask you can you guys see that? Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So Miriam, what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you?
So at this point, I really appreciate all of your questions. For one, that was amazing discussion today. I love this community. If you are willing to talk, get vulnerable about your mental health and chat with me in a live interview, that would be great. We're conducting our interviews live on the internet. So I'm looking for people who are founders and want to talk about their journey and their mental health around that. I would also love to know what features, if you want to drop it in the chat, that you really like about Quoka. Those are definitely some ways that you can help me. So I put in some information, I'll put in the links to where you can schedule a video interview into the conversation in the chat. And then if you like a certain feature that we have, just let me know which one. That would be very helpful to know where I should focus.
Those are great asks. I mean, those really go to the heart of what you need to make your business thrive. So I appreciate you having a really well thought out ask for our community. And I think you're going to get some people who are going to jump in because we're a pretty active community. So fantastic. In addition to that question, we also ask everyone else, what can you do for us as a 1 Million Cups community? And we would love to have you apply to present or bring someone with you to one of our meetings. But applying to present is really easy, 1millioncups.com/Seattle. And you don't have to like say, I'm going to definitely do it. Just see, start the ball rolling and we'll help you out. We're here to help you and see if you want to get to the point where you can talk to our community and tell your story about your product and idea. So if you are interested, please hop on board and apply to present. If you also were looking for help in the organization team, so please, if you want to practice a skill in a safe space, join the 1 Million Cups team here in Seattle, and we will find a thing for you to do, find what you want to learn, and let you run with it. So it's a great place. We have a lot of fun organizing, so we'd love to have you join us. And once again, here's a link tree. We're really trying to push this because it's a brand new cool thing that Katie found. So please, this one link right here will take you to all the good stuff about us so you can contact us and get to our weekly meetings and everything. So thank you for being here today, everyone. Next week, we have Ryan from Pretzel PPC, and he's going to be doing an educational presentation. I really, if you're interested in paper and social media marketing and such, he's going to be filling your head with lots of great ideas. So please join us. That being said, thank you, like I said, for being here, but I think we're about ready to move on to our breakout rooms. They're not patented, but they should be our patented breakout rooms. And Katie is probably putting those together as we're talking.
Yeah,
she is.
I've got them all set up, I think. So we'll just be moving on over to breakout rooms. Leave when you're full, but they'll be open for about half an hour if you want to keep the connections going. And we'll see you all next week, Wednesday at 9 a.m.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We appreciate you being here, and have a wonderful Wednesday and the rest of your week.